Is handout? Okay. Don't have, please feel free to come here and take. Let's begin our get-together session, not orientation. All of you have been coming here and you're part of us. You hardly need any orientation. Just go over with the program that we are going to give you for 1.5 days. So usually we begin this session with a prayer to Lord Ganesha. It's Vedic prayer. I'm sure all of you know this prayer, so please join me. Om Gananantva Ganapatigam Havamage Kavim Kavinamupamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Shanvannote Visida Sadhano Om Mahaganapatage Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Matra Rupena Samsthita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. So before we proceed to the program, there is a small error. It's though you have not seen it, but our Kiranji has noted Mundakopanishad. So add one N. So Mundakopanishad may be some modern rishis, but Mundakopanishad is ancient rishis. So N has to be added, and rest of it is all fine. So this is the Donors Appreciation Camp, which our Dr. Pramod Deshmukh, one of the board members, he suggested that we should have this program, which is very appropriate. And it was Pujya Swamiji's idea to have this auditorium, a new lecture hall and the dining hall. It took its own time to come into existence because there were a lot of concerns for this, whether we really need this big facility in absence of Pujya Swamiji. Swamiji knew it, but he felt that with this building, the facility will be complete. Pujya Swamiji's vision of seeing endowment is different from others. He says endowment is something which you give tangible to the people. So that remains the endowment rather than keeping money in bank and getting meager amount of interest on that. And when this concept was understood and comprehended by few important key people, they came forward and supported this. And we kept it open for our dearest supporters, donors, and they all came forward, and today building is there. I'm sure Ashokji, who is heading that project, will take all of you to show the progress before you leave the camp. With this small note, we will just discuss what is this camp all about. Swamiji will be here at any time now, and we'll have, it is like a camp only, but couple of things we have introduced. So morning as usual, the Abhisheka will be there to Lord Dakshinamurti. Of course, Dakshinamurti temple also has to undergo some constructions. Usually the Kumbhabhishekam takes place, gap of 12 years. One we had in 2013 when Puja Swamiji was here. After that you add 12 years, so 2024, correct? That's we are supposed to have. But whenever some repair comes, no matter small, big or major, all the rituals have to be repeated one more time. So whatever you do for the Kumbhabhishekam. So we didn't have big choice, but we have to do it. So the temple got ready. Most of the problems, whatever we were facing, all of them have been fixed. And we have scheduled Kumbhabhishekam June 29th for 3 days. It starts on 29th, Friday evening. It's Saturday, whole day. Then Sunday morning will be Kumbhabhishekam. That's on July 1st. So I welcome all of you to come and join for this great event. There, Dakshinamurti idol is there. So we do Abhisheka to Dakshinamurti every day. But now the construction is there, so Murti is just wrapped in a piece of cloth. But we do puja, show morning, Naivedyam, etc. But puja will be done till June 28 to this Sphatikalinga. It's all bhavana. So what they have done is there is called Kalakarshana. The Akarshana or the energy of the Murti is being transferred here. So what they do, they take a single rope or something, then it comes here. So means it is transferred and same Devata, whatever you are worshipping, is there. So we are doing Abhishekam here. And we'll have guided meditation, then Gurukula Seva, and Vedanta class with Swamiji. Please give chair to Swamiji Sahadev. So Swamiji has selected to teach Mundaka Upanishad. Then we have rest, then we will have donor's view. So be prepared for 2 or 3 minutes. Everyone, we want everybody's participation, not few chosen. So our platform will be kept open tomorrow. It's supposed to be at 10:45 and it will go up to 12:10. So whatever views you have, just express for 1 or 2 minutes so that everyone will get chance. Then we have Aarti, Dakshinamurti, then Frita. Then you will have yoga class. Then Swamiji will continue Mundaka Upanishad class. Then evening Aarti, and then evening we'll have Satsang and also donors' views. If you are not able to do it in the morning, we'll continue it in the evening. And next day we have Abhishekam, breakfast and concluding remarks. That may be also of Swamiji's class, and if Ashokji has few points about the new building, he will share. And that will be concluded, and Godakshina Prasad will be given to you. We would have continued till lunchtime because we have a Bhagavad Gita weekend class, so we are not able to stretch it till 12:30. So officially, this camp will get over at 9 a.m. so that Swamiji will have a little bit rest between Bhagavad Gita classes and this camp. So this is going to be schedule, and rest of some information about the ashram, etc. is given. Please read for yourself and enjoy your time. I'm sure it will be a great event to be here and to listen to Swamiji and also see up the building and all our future activities. Whatever is possible, they will discuss with you. If you have any concerns, you can write it and give it to Swamiji and he will address it. Thanks. Now, welcome Swamiji for tonight's satsang.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is the time for satsang or question answers. So if you have a question, please come forward. For this short camp, you have selected one passage from an Upanishad called Mundaka Upanishad. You perhaps know what an Upanishad is. Upanishad is part of the Veda. It is also called Vedanta. Anta means and, the and portion of Veda. Or Anta also means the culmination, meaning the culmination of the knowledge which is imparted by the Vedas, which is called Upanishad. The word Upanishad itself has a meaning. The Western scholars gave a meaning. Upanishad, Upa, Ni and Sad. Sad means to sit. Upa means near. Ni means below. Sitting near and below the teacher. So knowledge that one gains from the teacher, sitting near the teacher, below the teacher, that knowledge is called Upanishad, or going to teacher and receiving knowledge. But better than that, the word Upanishad is explained as a knowledge of which the subject matter is revealed by the prefix Upa. See, Upanishad is a word made up of three elements. Upa, Ni and Sad. These three make up the word Upanishad. The Sa becomes Sha by the rules of Sandhi. What it is, Upanishad. But by the rules of Sandhi it becomes Upanishad. And it is a knowledge revealed by the Upa. Sat is the root, and Upa and Ni are the prefixes. So to the root Sat, the prefixes Upa and Ni are added. That is how we have the word Upanishad. This is a knowledge. What is the subject matter of this knowledge? That is revealed by this prefix Upa. Upa, Samipye. Upa means proximity, meaning that this is the knowledge of that which is proximate, that which is near. Proximate means near. How near you think? When you just say near, without any qualification, without restriction, unrestricted near, unconditional near, unconditional qualified. What do you think is near to me without conditioning, without qualification, without restriction? What is close to me? What is proximate to me? You are sitting close to me, but closer than you is what? This chair is closer than to you, closer than you. Closer than the chair is what? This body is even closer to me than the chair. And within the body there is mind. That mind is even closer to me than even the body, isn't it? And in fact, the way the closeness is described in Upanishad is that to a person the wealth is very dear or very close. Closeness and dearness goes together. So wealth is dear. Dearer than wealth is the son, means my progeny, son, daughter. They are dear to me. Or the spouse. And dearer than that also is my own self. So in terms of what is closest to me, closer something is, dearer it is. That's what we call close. I'm close, this is my close friend, we say. When we say close friend means a very dear friend. So closeness and being dear, they go together. So wealth is close to me, is dear to me. Closer than wealth is my progeny, my son, daughter, etc. Then closer than that maybe the spouse. Closer than that is myself. That upa, which indicates nearness, proximity, the nearness or proximity when we explore, how near, how proximate. In that nearness or proximity, there is no condition. Unconditionally near is nothing but my own self. Therefore, upa is the knowledge of the self. Upanishad is the knowledge of the self. Next question, what kind of knowledge? Right now also we have knowledge of ourselves. Everybody knows who I am. I'm Swami so and so. If you ask me, Swami so and so. A person may say, I am so and so. But under some other condition you ask, who are you? I am the father. Under some other condition ask, who are you? I am a son. Depending upon what I am related to, So I know myself all right, but right now I know myself as a speaker. You know yourself as listeners. I am teacher, your students. So sometimes I know myself as father, or mother, husband, wife, teacher, student, happy, unhappy, doer, enjoyer. I know myself all right, but then my knowledge or perception of myself constantly changes, is it not so? There is no certainty. You tell me once, who are you? I am a speaker. When I am speaking, later when I listen to you, I become a listener. What is your identity? Are you a speaker, listener, husband, wife, father, son? Who are you? Who do you think you are? Of all of this, what are you? Can somebody tell me? Can something have more than one identity? My identity keeps on changing depending upon situations, depending upon what I am related to. So, if somebody is wondering, who are you? Are you a speaker? Or hearer? When I'm eating, I'm eater. Walking, I'm walker. Working, I'm a worker. Who am I? Who are you? Any answer? Anybody? Yeah. No. No, the way you look at, we are not asking how others look at you, how you look at yourself. When you are relating to your child, you look upon yourself as mother, do you not? And then when you are relating to your mother, you look upon yourself as daughter. Otherwise you can't conduct properly. When you look upon yourself as mother, then alone you can do justice to your child. And similarly, when you look upon yourself as daughter, then only you can do justice to your mother. Otherwise, if you remain mother to your mother also, then it will be a very strange relationship. Your behavior will be strange, is it not so? I may be a guru, but suppose Puja Swamiji were there, so I become a disciple. Meaning to relate to my guru, I must look upon myself as a disciple. To relate to my disciple, I look upon myself. So my own perception of myself keeps on changing. That's what I'm saying. Not somebody else's, but my own perception. Different roles I'm playing, really speaking. Sometimes you play the role of mother, sometimes wife, sometimes daughter, sometimes friend. Yes. So, yeah, these are all different roles that we are playing. You follow? Depending upon situation, I play different roles. Meaning that every situation seems to bring out from me a different person. Sometimes a situation brings out from me a father, sometimes son, sometimes brother, sometimes mother, sometimes. We play different roles. Meaning what? Who plays roles? Who plays roles? One who plays roles, what do we call him or her? Actor. So we are like actors, is it not so? Playing a variety of roles. And we change the roles right away. Right now my daughter is that I am mother, and my mother walks in, and right away I change the role, become a daughter. When the husband walks in, become wife. But one thing is certain, isn't it? That the one who plays the roles is different from the roles. Is it not so? If an actor plays the role of father, then he becomes son, then he becomes friend, then he becomes whatever. Is it not, as a rule, that the one who plays the roles must be different from the roles? Then only same person now is a beggar. In a different thing he becomes a king. He becomes a hero, becomes a villain. Who is he? He is all of this. At the same time, he is different from all of this. Is it not so? So who is he? To know him, you have to see him without all these roles. Is it not so? So Upanishad is a knowledge of myself. Which self? That is right now playing variety of roles. But the one who plays the roles is different from the roles. Isn't it? But the roles are not different from him. Understand this. The actor is different from the roles, different from a beggar or a king. But can you say that the beggar is different from the actor? Can the beggar or the king or minister or whatever roles he is taking, can they exist independent of the actor? Can actor exist independent of them? So now in this beggar, we have two entities. One is a dependent entity. Who is that? The beggar or the king, relative. Other is an independent entity called the actor. Meaning that when we find the same person appearing in different roles, then we can easily derive this conclusion that the person who is playing the roles is different from the roles. To know that person, we have to see that person when all the roles are dropped off. However, one thing is sure, that the person is in all the roles. At the same time, different from the roles. He's in all the roles means what? He pervades all the roles. He's the beggar also, minister also, king also. Same time, he transcends all the roles, isn't it? Transcends means what? Unaffected by any role. Even when he's acting as a beggar, the beggarliness does not affect him, isn't it? Does it affect him? If it affects him, he won't take the role. Then he would only take the role of a king, isn't it? If the role affects him. But beggarliness does not affect him. By that role, he becomes richer than before, in fact. So, actor pervades all the roles. But he transcends. What is transcending? Being unaffected. Even when the beggar is there, even then also the actor is unaffected by the beggar. You follow? Very important. It is possible that for some reason, because of some kind of mood of the actor, it is possible that some kind of a delusion can arise in him that I am a beggar. It's possible. Is it possible? Possible. A little too much here. Before going to stage, to stimulate himself, sometimes they take something. You take a little too much. That is possible that then when he's dressed up very well, he looks at himself in the mirror before going to the stage. And what does he find in there? A beggar. So what does he say? I'm a beggar. It is possible that even though in reality he is an actor who is unaffected, untouched by the beggar, who transcends the beggar, but under some strange conditions, when he is intoxicated, let us say, under the influence of intoxication, it is possible that he may look upon himself as a beggar. Is it possible? Yeah. You have seen some people get intoxicated, then they behave in a strange manner, is it not so? They behave in altogether different manner. So thus, under intoxication, it is possible that this actor may think that I am a beggar, meaning that he has a perception of himself that I am the beggar. Possible. Now then becomes a big problem. If we think that I am really a beggar, then he is a miserable person. In reality, he is maybe a billionaire perhaps. Who knows how rich they are. I'm sure all Hollywood actors must be billionaires. Or multimillionaire. Hundreds of millions of dollars each person has. But right now, what do they think? I am a beggar. So please tell me, when he perceives himself as a beggar, how does he feel? Does he feel like I'm a wealthy person, or does he feel that I'm a beggar? What does he feel? Beggar, is it not so? Meaning that the person feels the way the person perceives himself or herself. You follow? The way I feel about myself is determined by my perception of myself. Is it not so? He perceives himself as a rich person, he enjoys the richness. If he perceives himself as a beggar, he suffers from impoverishment. Would it not be so? So if he suffers from a sense of poverty, is it real or unreal? For him, it is real. Meaning that it does not matter who that person is in reality, what matters is how that person perceives himself or herself. Is it not so? In reality, the person can be very wealthy, but he perceives himself as a beggar. All his feelings and emotions are that of a beggar. Is it not so? He suffers all the pangs of impoverishment that a beggar feels. Isn't that right? That's very strange, isn't it? A billionaire suffers from the sense of being extremely poor, deprived. Is it not strange? Can it happen? Similarly, we also feel aware of ourselves. Everybody has a perception. Who am I? I am as good as my perception of myself. Understand? Who am I? I am what I perceive myself to be. Right now, I perceive myself to be a speaker, so I am a speaker. Later on, I may perceive myself as a listener, I become a listener. I am successful. I am not successful. I am great. I am not great. This is the perception that, different perceptions that I may have about myself. Is it not so? So how I feel is determined not by who I really am. Understand this. How I feel is not determined by who I really am. It is determined by how I perceive myself to be. Is that right? True. The question is that other people's perceptions also matter. When do they matter? Only when your perception about me influences my perception of myself. If you perceive me as a respectable person, and that makes me perceive myself as a respectable person, then alone the effect is that simply your perception of me is not sufficient. To that, I must add my perception of myself based on the way you perceive me. It is possible that regardless of how you perceive, I may not care. The politicians, they don't, they're not affected. Is it not so? People perceive them in various ways. It doesn't care. You can be so thick-skinned that people's perceptions don't matter to you at all. Or you can be enlightened also, then also they may not matter. Or you are very sure of yourself sometimes. I know who I am. If somebody else says, you don't even know how to spell your name, I mean, you are not going to be affected by that kind of a remark. So when do you feel affected? When the way the other person treats me, or the way the other person perceives me, affects my perception of myself, not otherwise. So ultimately, what counts is my perception of myself. This is very important. I am happy when I have a given perception of myself. I am unhappy if I have a different perception of myself. When am I happy? Am I happy just because I am a millionaire? Happy just because I am a politician, a physician, doctor, leader, this, that, in a enjoying a certain status, social status, political, etc. Is that the cause of my happiness? Is there a guarantee that just because I am a millionaire or a multimillionaire, or that I would necessarily be a happy person? Or that I am just it's a living paycheck to paycheck, that I must necessarily be unhappy person? Can those conditions, what determines whether I am happy or unhappy? Yes, right. What kind of perception makes me happy? What kind of perception makes me unhappy? Say that again. I'm not seeking something. But when will you not seek something? When will you be contented? Now he says, when I'm not a lacking, wanting person, I'm happy. When I'm not seeking something, I'm happy. I'm contented, I'm happy. When will you be contented? When will you not be seeking? Yes, you're pretty close. When you are unconditionally? Say that unconditionally? With self. You're always with yourself. Is it not so? Being with myself is always there. I am not away from myself. I know what you're trying to say, but I'm just, I want to be clearer about what you are saying. That's a very tall answer, realize the self. We are seeking simple answers. But that is true, answer is correct, of course. It is not dependent upon Vidya. Yeah. So from all of this, simple answer is when I am happy with myself. When I am satisfied with myself. Meaning that in my perception, I am all right, or I am acceptable to myself. When am I free from want or lack? When I am acceptable to myself. When do I feel lacking or wanting or desiring? When I am not satisfied with the way I am in my perception. The way I perceive, the result is when I am not satisfied with the way I find myself to be, then I conclude that I am not all right as I am. Then I am uneasy. then I'm not easy or happy or comfortable with myself. So when am I happy? When I am comfortable with myself. When would I be comfortable with myself? When, in my own perception, I find I'm all right. What do you mean all right? When do I say something is all right? When something satisfies my expectation, then I say it is all right. Anything. You serve some nice food, but when it's all right? When it satisfies your expectation. That's the reason why about the same thing, different people may have different responses. The same thing may make somebody happy, may not make another person happy, because different people have different expectations. So if a Gujarati person comes to our dining hall and you serve them sambar, dal, please get some sugar, So they want to put, they want sugar in everything. Sabji also, some sugar, dal. So that's when that person feels happy. You put sugar and the northern says, what is this? I don't like this. So meaning that we always have expectation from anything that we come in contact with. And first of all, I come in contact with myself. Therefore, I have expectations of myself. And therefore, when would I be happy with myself? When I am able to live up to my own expectation of myself. What is my expectation of myself? I should be a perfect person. What do I expect? I should be a complete person, a perfect person. No? Not possible? Huh? Not possible? Not possibly perfect? Absolutely not possible. How do you define a perfect person? But how would you define? Suppose if you had to define. That you do? That's what we are saying. You will be able to live up to your expectation when you are a perfect person. So how do you define a perfect person? Just, what? Not perfect person means that you must be all-knowing. Is not a perfect person. What is a perfect person in your perception? When do you think you will be perfect? You know everything. How many stars there are in this and how many grains of dust, sand there are. Is that kind of thing is all? Or I'm the greatest person in the world and I'm perfect. I'm the strongest one in there. I'm the heavyweight. What is your perception of a perfect person? You feel completely free, not bound. Very good. When would you feel completely free? So what is our expectation of ourselves? That I should be free. That's one answer. What is my expectation of myself? I should be free. I should not be dependent upon anybody. Having no expectation from where? From the world? See, having no expectation will happen when your expectation is satisfied. Because we have a habit of always expecting. And therefore, habitually we expect from ourselves also as to how I should be. So I am unhappy when I am not able to live up to my own expectation of myself, and I am happy when I am able to live up to my own expectation of myself. Nobody else comes into the picture really. In my happiness, all that is myself. When I am able to live up to my expectation of myself, I am happy because then I accept myself. When I am able to live up to my expectation of myself, then I accept myself. I am happy with myself. That's when I am happy. And when I cannot live up to my own expectation, I am unhappy. Doesn't matter whether I live up to your expectation or not is not important. Ultimately, what is important? Whether I am able to live up to my expectation of myself. You follow? Very important to understand this. For example, in what way do they matter? We already addressed this. They matter to you because ultimately their perception about you affect your perception about yourself. So what matters to you is only your perception of yourself. Other people's perception will matter if you allow yourself to be influenced by them. If your perception you allow to be influenced by their perception, if otherwise, it is not simply, as I said, it is not simply their behavior, that the way they treat you, the way they criticize, that itself is not enough. The second part is, I make that as a basis of perceiving myself. Why not? Why can you not be perfect?
It's too many things today. I guess you feel like our demands on your time, on yourself, and it's not possible to do all of that 100% every day.
Is it demand? I will come to you. It is the demand on your time, or is it your demand from yourself? Just think about it. Is it the others who make demand on your time and on yourself? Does it stop there? Or if it results into your demand of yourself. So many demands are there upon us. Do you know how many taxes we should fill up? How many things we don't. So, it doesn't always affect us. So many kinds of movements are there in India. Swachh Bharat doesn't affect. As long as it doesn't become my demand upon myself, let the Prime Minister say whatever he wants to say. So what other person says matters only when that influences my perception of myself. I want you to think about it. No, when you say in a situation you have done your best, meaning that you have been able to live up to your expectation of yourself. That's what it means. That's what we are saying. When will you say that you have done the best in a given situation? When you are able to live up to your own expectation of yourself in that situation. That's when you will call it best. So what we are saying is what ultimately matters is my perception of myself, and that perception is based on my expectation of myself. If in my perception, understand, if in my perception I am able to live up to my expectation of myself, I am happy with myself. If in my perception I cannot live to my expectation of myself, I am unhappy. See, recently we heard about some suicides by some very, supposedly very renowned and successful people. There was some chef in Paris, somebody, Yeah, I can't pronounce his name, so I didn't, but what is the name? How do you call it? Anthony Bourdain. Yeah. Now to us, there is no reason for him to feel unhappy at all. He had everything that we can think of. He had the wealth, he had the fame, and you can say he had the power also in terms of, the respect and that he had from. What did he not have by common standard, by what you call perfect? It's not what we think about him. What matters is what that person thinks about himself or herself. When that person goes to the extent of committing a suicide, that only comes from one's own perception of oneself. They say all suicides come from depression, etc. That person must be highly depressed. And depression is a result of self-rejection. That he had some expectation of himself in which he consistently failed to live up to his expectation, and every time was disappointed with himself, and that's how you keep on rejecting yourself, and feel sad and sadder and saddest and depressed, and leads to that. I am not concerned about him as such, whoever he was. All I am saying about, I am just saying, you said perception other people have. All the point I am trying to make is, it is not the perception that other people have that is important. Ultimately, it is perception that I have what myself. I don't want to comment because, you don't want to make that an issue. I just gave it an example, whoever he was and what it is. All I am saying is that he did what he did because of a perception he had, which cannot be a very, great perception, that he wouldn't do what he has done. So the world had one perception of that person, and so many rock stars, so many people commit suicide. Not only even very accomplished people. Many rock stars and many, suffer from depression. As I said, I'm not making any judgment about anybody, I'm just an observation. And to make a point, we're not going to prove anything. All I'm saying is, ultimately, what matters to me is my perception of myself. And my perception of myself is based on my being able to live up to my expectation of myself or not. However great I am, however great things I am doing, but if my expectation of myself, I'm not going to live up to my expectation of myself, I declare myself a failure. You may call me successful person, but it's not what you call me, what I call myself. And it's quite likely that I call myself a failure because whatever expectation I have of myself, which I am not able to live up to. You follow? So we cannot give justification about what other people do to us for feeling what we do. Ultimately, what we do to ourselves is what matters. Very important thing to understand. Very important. No, feeling comes from perception. Not that perception is good and I feel bad. It cannot be. My perception is that I am successful. I cannot feel bad. Fact that I feel bad is that I have a perception that I am not successful. I am no good. Whether that is brought about by chemicals or whoever, what I am saying, what the result is, this perception. Whether the cause is chemical or cause is something else, it's a different matter. Yes. What Vedanta, in fact, we are leading up to something from all of this. We are leading up to the case that we should know ourselves as we are, because that's why I use the word perfect. We have an expectation of ourselves that I should be perfect. And I will find that I am perfect when I know my true nature. Right now, I gave you the example of an actor who has the perception that he is a beggar. Which rich man has a perception he is a beggar for whatever reason, any reason. Similarly, even though we are perfect by nature, we have a perception of ourselves that we are imperfect. It is that's called knowledge. I have a knowledge right now of myself. What's the knowledge? I am an imperfect person, or inadequate person, lacking person, wanting person. Not good enough. Maybe good, not good enough. That is my perception. Vedanta teaches that that's not the reality about myself. The reality of myself is different from what I perceive myself to be. Just as in case of the actor, the reality is he is a wealthy person. His perception is he is a beggar. What matters is not what he is, the way he perceives himself. Therefore, our perception should be in alignment with what we are. That's all Vedanta teaches. That we have some kind of knowledge, which is the source of all misery. So, false knowledge is source of all misery, and the true knowledge of self is the source of all happiness. Simple as that. Does it become clear? Meaning that all the unhappiness or sorrow is a cause of the false perception of myself, just as in case of the actor who perceives himself as a beggar, and all the freedom from sorrow endeavor, attainment of all happiness is the result of my perception of what I truly am. That's called self-knowledge. When my perception of myself is in keeping with what my true nature is. It's ignorance of the self. When my perception is opposite of what I truly am, it is called self-knowledge. When my perception is in keeping with what I truly am. That's why Upanishad comes. What is Upanishad? Self-knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Truly as I am. Because self-knowledge I even have now, but truly as I am. It is Upanishad. Instead, what does it do? It releases me from all sorrow. Makes me own up my wholeness, fullness. It's called the real success in life. So makes me a successful person in the real sense. And that person alone is successful. Yes, ma'am.
You are going to have disappointment, you're going to have inadequacy, you're going to have all that. So how do you forget all that?
The question is that even though in reality you are perfect or Satchidananda, while playing the roles, will there not be disappointments? Again, what's disappointment? Disappointment is when I am not able to live up to my expectation of myself. However, if my perception is I am Satchidananda, that means that I am able to live up to my expectation of myself, then how can there be disappointment? Because playing the role cannot change what I am. If actor is very aware of who he is, whether he acts as a beggar or a, it doesn't matter. What matters is what is his perception. Even though he plays the role of a beggar, he is aware that I am a wealthy person. Plays the role of a villain, he knows that I am a good person. Similarly, whatever roles you play, as long as you have the clear perception of yourself, doesn't matter what the role is, because role doesn't affect me, it is the perception that affects me. Yes. Well, by perception I mean what I think of myself, how I look at myself. At every moment I always have a conclusion about myself, opinion about myself. You can call it conclusion, you can call it opinion, you can call it perception. Pardon me? There is what? Bound. There is no limitation because there is limitation when I am thinking of opinion of something else or perception of something else. There can be limitation because in perceiving something else there are intervention between myself and what I perceive. For example, when I perceive you, then there is intervention of space, intervention of my organ of perception, intervention of mind, all these things are there between I and you. If these factors are not right, then it is possible that the perception can be different, imperfect, limited. But in my perception of myself, no such thing comes. There is no separation at all. I don't need to see myself, I don't need to have mind, because I am self-effulgent. Because self is self-effulgent, so perception is automatically there without having any effort. For me to pursue something other than myself, an effort is required about myself. It's an effortless perception. Are you there? I am. You don't need to see, hear. I am is a self-revealing fact. You can call it experience if you like, perception, opinion, conclusion, complex, judgment, different words are used. Yes.
Experience tells us that this understanding of self is arrived at in silence. So we know that it's not going to happen if I go out into the world and keep on interacting. I have to be with myself in order to arrive at this understanding of self. On the other hand, we now find that they keep telling us that as you age and with dementia and all these things setting up, they say people who have a lot of social interaction are the ones who are not going to suffer from mental disorder. I've always found a kind of a dichotomy in this, that what's going on, because on the one hand, I'm trying to pull inwards more, so that interaction with the world becomes less, so that you're more with yourself, and trying to find that, be in touch with your present self. And on the other hand, we're being told that if you do that, there could be isolation, you could get into a state of depression or dementia.
So her statement or question is that these days we are told that if you are an outgoing person, social person, interacting with all the time, then the chances of dementia, etc., are less, as compared to a person who is introvert with himself, chances are more. Now Vedanta says, be with yourself. That means what Vedanta teaches seems to create great possibility of dementia, etc., No, it's not being with yourself or being with others. That's not the point. That's all they understand. I'll tell you what it is. It is what you feel about yourself. Generally, people, when they're outgoing, interacting, then there is less chance of their feeling sense of isolation or sense of, loneliness, etc. In that sense, they feel good about themselves. And if you are just by yourself, likely that you feel isolated, lonely, and don't feel good about yourself. So this not feeling good about myself leads to all these problems, not whether you are alone or not. You follow? It is possible you can be in the midst of people and feel miserable and have all kinds of problems. You can be with yourself and not have problems. So, being with myself, Vedanta doesn't say become isolated, doesn't say become lonely. In fact, it's not become lonely. Recognize being yourself. So it is self that we are talking about, which is not a lonely self, which is self of all. So here we are talking about being with ourselves, not because I want to shut myself off, not because I am trying to run away from them, not because I cannot face the world, but then I find it more profitable to contemplate upon my true self. Otherwise, if a person who is lonely contemplates upon the egoistic self and then feels miserable. But then we want to contemplate upon the self which is Chidananda. And so it is not whether you are by yourself or with others, it is the way you feel about yourself. That's important. All right, we'll take a break for tonight. We'll have one bhajan before we disperse, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Please repeat after me. You can switch off? That's good. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari naam bhajo re Hari. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari naam bhajo re. Hari naam bhajo man, Hari Krishna 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 bhajo re. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari naam bhajo re. Mukunda Madhava Vithala 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 bhajo re. Mukunda Vithala bhajo re. Govinda Gopala Madhava bhajo re. Govinda Gopala Madhava. Govinda Gopala Madhava bhajo re. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari naam bhajo re. Hari naam bhajo man, Hari Krishna bhajo re. Hari naam bhajo man, Hari Krishna bhajo re. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari naam bhajo re. Mukunda Madhava Vithala bhajo re. Mukunda Madhava Vithala bhajo re. Mukunda Govinda Gopala Madhava bhajo re. Govinda Gopala Madhava bhajo re. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari Naam bhajo re Hari. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari Naam bhajo re. Hari Naam bhajo man, Hari Krishna bhajo re. Hari Naam bhajo man, Hari Krishna bhajo re. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari Naam bhajo re. Mukunda Madhava Vithala bhajo re. Mukunda Madhava Vithala bhajo re. Govinda Gopala Madhava bhajo re. Govinda Gopala Madhava bhajo re. Hari Hari bhajo man, Hari Naam bhajo re. Hari Naam bhajo re. Hari Naam bhajo re. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhag bhaved, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amrutangamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Shri Gurubhyo